Okay, this is page 7 of 12 pages of the Adult Protection Services report. Adult Protection investigator spoke to the person at Sunset Empire Recreation District who pinned me down in this frightening pose and told me all this stuff about his herpes and all this that's featured in my Herpes Dude film series. This key passage that I think all former, future, present employers or contacts should really, really, really take heed to, that the person identified as alleged perpetrator, Chris Duffy, is anonymized, says, thinking back, I may have initiated some tussling or playful wrestling. I do think the tussling probably happened. I don't have a clear memory of it, though. I have, and then I'm skipping what he says because I dispute it. I have wrestled playfully with partners in the past. So whoever you are, partners of Chris Duffy, who have been playfully wrestled, I would like to send out a query to you, whether you're Carol, his LA girlfriend, his black girlfriends in Detroit, or victims, girlfriends, what's the difference, right? Whether or not possibly Kim Hazel of Astoria will know if this, what he calls playful wrestling, which I considered a very violent assault with a lot of menace in his energy and his face, and sinister and gripping and forceful and just like sweaty, gross, yucky man pinning me down. Disgusting to me, who I just said, you are reminding me of other abusers, curtailing it. I just wonder how, who those partners are, and I want to make it clear, I am not his partner. He wasn't on a date. He thought he was on a date, but I was out with him and Brenda. I was basically there so Brenda could be on a date with him, and then Brenda was late and then left after 4 hours or something, and I needed to have a talk to him about what he was doing to her, breaking her heart. And then he basically pounced all over me, telling me his herpes, groping at me, grabbing at me, cornering me, like capturing me. And I was afraid to get police involved. I was afraid of the whole situation, and he tried to do like quid pro quo on me, like, oh, you can work at the radio, blah blah blah, and then, oh, you can work at the senior center after he did the attack. So I think all of the women employees in Sunset Empire should be very, very careful of him. I know he's being watched like a hawk now. It's amazing I haven't fired him. And if I were rich bigwigs up the hill, I would say, Sunset Empire, don't for 1 second put my daughter in danger, ever. Don't let a predatory man who admits to this non-consensual wrestling, he denied, he basically cops out memory-wise, trying to say he doesn't remember pressing himself on me. And he tries to call it a date. Reminding me of my brother. My brother will sit with me like that. I told my mom, I find that creepy. Could you please take your arm off me? And that's kind of how he all started. Moving in on me, trying to... Sometimes you want a guy friend. There is such a thing as a cool guy friend that you can vent to, you can talk about your problems, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't a cool guy friend by the time he's groping. I said in my email to him, you went from being gropey and annoying, which is so actionable, and I should have called him on it, to assaultive. So that, like, you're annoying me. Please stop grabbing at me, groping at me, like, clingy, like, get away. And I was trying to minimize it, make everything go smoothly. Like, and also, sometimes if you fight too out of control, fighting, then what? Like, then they what, choke you or break your neck? You never know. So his miscalculation that this was whatever, it's like we did. I'm very glad he makes it clear that there was no making out going on, because I was thinking like, God, I would never take him to bed. Like, he's just not my type. He grosses me out that way. And especially after the violence. It was like he would live from like a really gross to like even extremely lower, like disgusting gross. Because I don't like violent guys. And like, so you're 48, dude. Someone needs to have a talk with you about you're 6'6", she's 5'5". Therefore, you're not wrestling. If you do wrestling, get a liability waiver, get the consent of all parties, and establish some ground rules. Don't just completely overpower a woman when you have an erection, when you've tried to keep her up all night, talking at her and pawing at her and exhausting me. So when I saw this was just like out of control. Like, oh, you did have a right to remain silent, but instead you admitted that this wrestling thing went on that I called a pin down, and now you're admitting you do it all the time with other people? That's what I was afraid of. So women out there, if you're a Chris Duffy victim, I could use some community voices. Like, Kim, please feel free to contact the authorities if he's assaulting you. And anyone else, Carol in LA, his sister, who supposedly thinks he's a jerk, I'll confirm, yeah, he is.